Good evening, it's Newsview. I'm Lee Sullivan. Thank you for allowing me in. My good friend Ron Hart, columnist, syndicated, author, award-winning, libertarian, serious libertarian, and Fox News View contributor. Down and with my three children.
All three kids are down for the first time. All the Hart kids are together. Daughter's out of med school, the other two out of college. We got a week. We came down to Rosemary, had a great time. Watching TV together is always fun. Watched the Kardashian show yesterday, yeah. They don't understand. It's good as parents to give them context with the Kardashians. For example, they think Bruce Jenner's the dad. He's really not the dad. And they don't know who the Kardashians' dad was, who was a great, great lawyer who freed OJ, got OJ off the murder thing. So Kardashians have a long history of getting black men off, so the sisters are continuing that.
Well, and certainly I can see the significance in that.
It's a proud history.
Last week I read Rupert Murdoch. I mean, a Hugh Hefner-like guy in some extent, got more than $1.50 in the bank, and so England's trying to do to him what they did to Michael Savage, basically.
Right.
Just eviscerate him.
Yeah, 2.5 wars you got going on right now. You got 14 trillion in debt. The EU's falling apart. Greece, Portugal's falling apart. And they drag an 80-year-old man who's created 51,000 jobs all over the world before Parliament to browbeat them. If you've seen the brows of some of these British politicians,
Really?
it could be pretty severe. I mean, this is I think like Guantanamo Bay type of stuff.
Yeah. Built-in shade tree.
Exactly. So it can be awful tough. So he's a great liberal potentially. Murdoch is. He conserved energy during the hearings by sleeping through a lot of it, which I thought was really really nice. And he broke the color barrier a long time ago at Fox News because I think he hired a brunette.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a frontiersman.
He has proven that women on television can be both intelligent and not ugly.
Yeah. What he did, he
had some trouble proving that in government.
Oh, exactly. I mean, he found a great formula. First of all, he's a business person. He found a formula where you had beautiful women reporting on sex scandals and nefarious activity, but the opinions were always conservative. So he combined the best of our last two presidents, Clinton and Reagan, that we like, and it really worked out well. A little sex appeal, a little something else. But
well, his wife's not exactly the ugliest thing that walked down the runway either.
She's great, and I think she endeared herself to the country when she kind of did that ninja warrior. She went after that guy with the pie pretty hard. You know, and of course, I don't know how he got past the pie detector to get in there to begin with. I mean, they need to look into that. But a couple of guys from Scotland Yard are going to have to resign. A couple of guys from Scotland Yard are going to have to resign. And in fairness, if you can't stop a comedian with a pie on the floor of Parliament, it's probably time to go. It's probably your time to kind of mosey on to another job. So what I would have done, if I was working the TSA, or the radar, we call that little machine, that metal detector, guy comes in with a pie, I wouldn't arrest him immediately. Right. I don't want to see what the rest of the plan is. Right. I want to see what the grand scheme is and follow the guy.
Let's see if you wouldn't be a real TSA person, because you would want to stick at least 2 of your fingers in the pie.
You can get through security apparently with a pie.
You just wanted to finger the pie.
Exactly.
You wouldn't want to just let it go right by.
Apparently the Three Stooges were coming in there at some point in time. You had to have bracelets apparently to get in there. That was the deal. He had a fake bracelet that got him past security. So I don't know what the bracelet said. What would Curly do or something in terms of what he had in mind. But anyway, he slips in there with a pie. She kind of ninja chops him, and unfortunately, as everybody saw on the tape, it kind of cut off. But apparently, she just kept wailing on the guy with this pie. Not too many, 40-year-old women married to 80-year-old billionaires in America would even come to their husband's aid that quick.
No, they all wait for him to die.
Wait 3 days to call
Kill him with
911 on a heart attack. Maybe he'll be okay. Yeah. It's like, so she kind of.
He doesn't move around a lot anyway.
Maybe he'll get better. He's a little blue in the face, but I think he'll be fine. Call her attorney, all the money goes to her free. But little different deal over there. But I just don't think, 80-year-old guy, he's sitting there, I don't think he's tapping phones. I'm not even sure he's tapping that. But it's just, he's not. He's not, clearly not technological. Okay? He's 80 years old, for crying out loud.
I got all of that.
What?
I know. Maybe he's got a beer keg
Not tapping
somewhere.
her phone, I mean, her phone. Yeah, but he's, he paid $800 million for MySpace, so he's clearly not very smart technology. Now, here's a story. Here's a guy who's got 51,000 employees who, a few of them were using cell phone taps or whatever modern technology
to get information.
To get information, was what newspapers have done for years. And so he's supposed to know somewhere way down the line, 51,000 freelance reporter type people that are doing nefarious things. On the same logic, Obama should resign because Anthony Weiner, using federal equipment, was exposing himself to women, and then he lied about it. Under. So I mean, why didn't Obama? Why didn't the left call for Obama to resign? I don't want that to happen. I would like to see Obama resign. 2 words: Joe Biden. It kind of gets worse, But
well, speaking of Joe, I mean, he's busy today. The Senate. We've been. I said last night. I mean, I seriously know older people that are frightened to death because they're afraid they're not going to get their Social Security check.
Right.
It's just no pretense, just really just ill.
Sure.
And I told them, I said, they're not going to save us, they're going to save themselves.
Right.
Okay. And so the House has saved itself. Now the onus is on the Senate to save itself. And is there any doubt in your mind that they're not going to save themselves?
Oh, there's one thing they know is self-preservation.
Right.
Politicians, it's all about them. It's never been about us.
Right.
So they're going to vote. They'll probably vote on this thing again. The taping's before the vote, so I'm assuming it's going to pass the Senate. But the Obama administration, to go on 60 Minutes, which is effectively a PR office for the White House. They're so liberal. They lay down in front of him and jump on a hand grenade for him. And these are the type of people that would do this for Obama, Scott Pelley and others on 60 Minutes. So he goes on there and threatens not to send out Social Security checks. Anyone controls that in the country, it's him. He decides where the money goes, even if we don't have the money to do. He can easily pay the debt. He can easily pay Social Security and some entitlements, most of the entitlements. So that's a complete scare tactic. And he accuses the Republicans of scare tactics, right? And he's sitting there, I'm not going to send you a Social Security check. Entitlement people, and it's 75 million checks go out every month to Americans, of which, most of them are Democrat constituents, except for the old people. And the old people tend to vote Republican, and he's trying to scare them, not his entitlement people, not the welfare people, not the people dependent on him. But what other president threatens his own base, by not sending checks? So it was poorly handled. They haven't submitted a budget for 800 days. He doesn't submit his own plan. He just sits there like a college professor with this high-handed, above-it-all attitude. You work it out, come to me, I'll let you know. Come up with a plan. Have some leadership, and the guy's a weasel.
When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the Republican, the base, how you think they came out with at the House issue, and how enjoined the Tea Party either successfully or unsuccessfully has been. Ron Hart, we'll be right back. Welcome back. News View, visiting with Ron Hart, syndicated columnist, Fox News View contributor, award-winning author, libertarian. So it's got to have a balance somewhere, I mean, you can't just be all great things. So the House votes on, I don't even know why they call it a debt ceiling, because, I mean, I don't know anybody, anyway, that's what they call it. So how did the Republicans fare out of that? Did they lose points, win points, or draw?
As mad as we get at the compromise, we have to understand we only have one House. We have 1/3 of a 3-legged stool, right? And Obama's got veto power, and that's a very powerful thing. He's got the bully puppet. He calls these NBC, ABC press conferences at will to give campaign speeches, which I'm surprised they still let him do that. I mean, there's nothing new. And he has no plan. He presented no plan, nothing new, but they let him call primetime news conference. People are going to get mad at him because they're going to miss the Bachelorette. And that's going to cause lose a lot of the women vote. But the budget deal to me is like saying, okay, by raising the ceiling, everybody says, well, we got to raise the ceiling, we got to raise the ceiling, we got to raise the ceiling. It's like, say you solve the problem, right? It's like raising the DUI levels to 1.4 versus 0.8 to say you've solved the DUI driving problems, right? You haven't solved anything. You just raise the levels and change the goalpost. And that's what they've done. The good news is there's a dialogue that seems to be serious for the once about cutting some money in Washington. You know, they're up. I mean, the budget's gone from, you know, they're spending $2 trillion about 8 years ago to spending $3.8 trillion today. I mean, it's triple the rate of inflation some years. The spending goes up with government. There's no constraints on them. And you got to starve the beast. At some point, you got to starve the beast. At some point, we're going to be sleeping on Canada's couch.
Really?
We're going to be busted.
So how much credit or discredit does the Tea Party movement have in what you have enunciated that has been accomplished?
Well, historically in Washington, you got, as I call it, shirts and skins. You're a Democrat or Republican, and all the Republicans say is, hey, at least we're not Democrats. So they can kind of triangulate the issues right in the middle to where they come a little right of the Democrats, and the Democrats come left of the Republicans, and all their, it's a monopoly, two parties. We need a three-party system.
Right.
Tea Party is not aligned with the Republicans technically. They put more heat on the Republicans. They've been more trouble to the Republicans than they have been to the Democrats. And for Biden and others to call them terrorists.
Yeah, because they're holding them up to a standard.
Exactly. They're supposed to be. They're supposed to be minimal government, cut the budget, and move on. Look, Republicans go to Washington, D.C., they enjoy the hot tubs, too. They enjoy the limos.
Right.
They enjoy the lobbyists.
Right.
The Republicans gave us the Medicare Part D, the prescription drug benefit, which is nuts. In that bill, the drug companies, you can't even make them compete on price. Who does that? You're the biggest buyer of drugs in the country, and they don't have to compete on price. They sold out a long time ago.
It's tough to watch a game played where you can't find a team to be for because they are so assimilar. Ron Hart, we'll be right back. Welcome back. It's News View. I'm visiting with Ron Hart. We're talking about a variety of things. We just talked about the ceiling that wasn't the ceiling, that should be the ceiling, that won't be the ceiling, that could be the ceiling, and how that they will save themselves, and we will be drug along in their wake, and we should be ever thankful for that. But George Soros, who I believe actually could qualify as one of the personifications of a scum-sucking, communist, fascist pig. I mean, these people that have enough money to get around all the impediments, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you
well,
know.
The most telling thing is he's got a $24 billion hedge fund, which because of Dodd-Frank legislation, he ushered in with his money, his liberal agenda to regulate all the terrible things that went on. He's folding his hedge fund into a family office to avoid the same regulation that he created through Dodd-Frank. It's causing deals to go overseas. I wrote about 3 months ago about Facebook. Facebook had a $50 billion valuation, and it got done with Russian investors because the laws in America are so tough to file a deal. Litigation's so high in America. They don't know what Dodd-Frank's going to bring. So at $45, $50 billion valuation, they do a deal with the Russians. Now it's worth $100 billion almost, $95 to $100 billion. The Russians made money that American investors should have made. We're running everything offshore with the regulation. They don't understand that. They think they're just, I mean, they don't understand how fleeting money can be, how fungible it is these days.
You know, Ron.
And Soros is a hypocrite.
You know, I mean, surely, when you and I visit, you know, I mean, surely they have to know what they're doing. Surely it is more arrogance than it is ignorance. I mean, why would you just sit there and poison yourself, which is what they're doing? Unfortunately, you know, there are a lot of other people that are getting the Jones issue too. You know,
Right.
I'll drink it, but everybody else got to have some Kool-Aid.
Sure.
Why, I mean,
Well, they believe in government. They believe in themselves, and without regulation and control, they don't have power over other people. These people are all about power. Democrats are all about power. They believe in a utopian world that somehow we're all going to get along. If we split the money equally, everybody will work equally as hard. The Soviet Union proved it wasn't the case. The Soviet Union disbanded over communism because they couldn't answer one question: who stays up at night with a sick cow? In America, it's the farmer who owns the cow. He stays up at night with the cow. In Russia, everybody owns a cow. No one stays up with the cow. If everybody's responsible, no one's responsible. And the fundamental core is that people pursuing their own self-interest, their own enlightened self-interest, is the best way to go because everybody's better for it. I mean, Walmart's created more jobs, more opportunities, lowered CPI because their pricing is, you may not like Walmart. The left hates Walmart, but Walmart's done a great job. They give more, about $100 million to charity each year than any corporation in America. They create jobs and opportunity, and they're a great company, but they're hated by everyone else. So, I mean, capitalism has done more to raise the standard of living for the average American than anything that's ever happened. Government hasn't done it. It's been an impediment the whole way around. Soros, I don't think he's either thought it through or he's such an international trader that he's trading against himself, trying to trick people to do something and making money on the other side of the trade. He's probably short the dollar now. I'm pretty sure the guy's short the dollar. He's Dr. Evil.
Really?
Is what he is. You know, except for the bald cat and lair, he's Dr. Evil. And why a Hungarian-born Jewish immigrant who comes over here hates this country so much, it's beyond me. I mean, he should be loving this place. It made him a billionaire, and he's clearly a very bright guy, but he's an esoteric guy. He's an anomaly and an enigma on Wall Street. No one really knows much about him. But the fact he disbands his hedge fund over Dodd-Frank to form a family office, which is less regulated, tells it all. The best you can do if you're Obama, as he found out with Obamacare, is exempt your friends from your own legislation.
Listen, the most historic Marxist communist remark ever made was by that skanky-looking Hillary Clinton, who said, "It takes a village." I got news for that. Her. Yeah. Okay. It takes a family.
Yeah.
Okay. It takes a family.
It takes a village to watch her husband.
It takes a village to satisfy her husband. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Visiting with Ron Hart. Kathleen Syphilis,
Syphilis. I don't know. It's not syphilis.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure of that.
Anyway, Kathleen, Health and Human Services. Is that what that still stands for?
HHS, yeah.
We need that. SSS.
Yeah, HSS.
She welcomed a federal report calling for all women to have access to the morning after birth control pill. I ask you, since you have endorsed this two old people, I don't know. I couldn't even tell what sex they were, so I don't guess it really makes any difference. Are we moving ahead here in life? I mean, is it cheaper than killing the babies? You know.
I guess so. I mean, it gets back to the abortion issue. But you know, Bill Clinton is traveling the country right now, so there's probably a little need for that with Hillary gone. But the Democrats are on the loose, and some Republicans. No, I think they need to have a morning after pill for men. You know that would be perfect.
And a true stroke of genius.
Yeah, I'm going to invent one. It changes your DNA and your phone number. the next day.
They can't trace you
can't
back.
trace you down. Let's do
that.
Doesn't
do anything for pregnancy,
yeah.
but
don't anybody patent that. We're going to patent that.
There is some protection in it.
There's some protection in it for men, but you know, I don't know. The morning after pill seems to me to be certainly a better alternative than abortion. Obviously, I mean,
I agree.
You know, I don't know where. Obviously, the Catholic Church and others. It's always the Catholic Church with men who are priests who never have kids, or telling people how not to have
listen,
kids.
I mean, it is just without question. Abstinence is a word that you usually only find in the dictionary, but clearly that we have come too far medically for there to be unwanted pregnancies.
Right, exactly.
And anything that we do to circumvent that and keep that number down is better for everybody.
Well, look at the poster child for abstinence. It's Sarah Palin, right? She's the hard right, social right, conservative, whatever. She's got 2 pregnancies in her family, right already. Right. And God knows you're going to have to name another kid Trip or you know, whatever Geronimo, whatever she's going to come up with. I mean, I think she names them after national parks or something. Right. So you think she'd be a hippie family, I know. But she's got her second kid's pregnant now with a child. They must not sell condoms in Alaska. They lose their elasticity in the cold or something. I don't know, but
is the other one?
Yeah, she got another kid pregnant.
Got one in the oven?
Yeah. You gotta get People magazine.
See, that's why I have to have you on the show, man. Can't, you know. I mean, I just found out that Amy Dreamhouse was dead.
She didn't. No one saw that coming. That was. They said her parents recently said she had withdrawals from trying to get off of alcohol. And that's why she died. So there's fear that the Democrats also will have withdrawal spending, and they may die.
And I'm going to tell you something. Captain America. You will owe me that beer about Gaddafi.
I already do probably owe you the beer about Gaddafi.
Listen.
We'll roll the tape back. I'm going to bring you a 6-pack next show.
I'm telling you. Listen.
He's a wily one, I have to admit.
I know.
They made a mistake with Gaddafi. They should have bombed his Jerry Curl, strategic supply of Jerry Curl. That would have been a fatal blow to Gaddafi. They kept trying to. It's funny. It's funny when the Democrats. Can you mute? Can you mute this?
You can't do stuff like this at the end of the show. Remember,
Democrats bombed Tripoli, but the press says they did it in a nice way.
remember, those are my views. What are yours?